Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt like you're just kind of stuck? Like you're not making any real progress even though, you know, time keeps moving.
Oh, absolutely. It's
So
such a
true.
common feeling.
Right. You're so focused on what's next, the mountain you still have to climb, you totally miss how far you've actually come.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's funny, other people see your growth way before you even have a clue.
Well, what's fascinating here is exactly that internal blind spot we seem to have.
Yeah.
We are definitely our own toughest critics.
Yeah.
And we adapt so quickly, don't we?
Yeah.
Yesterday's huge hurdle just feels like, well, like Tuesday now.
All right. Tuesday.
And the source material we're diving into today speaks right to this. It's an essay by Brianna Wiest titled, How to Know You've Evolved More Than You Give Yourself Credit For.
And that title, it just nails it, doesn't it? So our mission for this deep dive is to use Wiest's insights almost like a mirror. We want to pull out these specific, sometimes really subtle signs she points to that might just reveal, hey, you've evolved significantly, maybe in ways you haven't even, clocked yourself. It's about hitting pause for a second and really seeing the transformation that's already happened.
Exactly. It's less about taking off achievements, like a checklist,
Right.
and more about the shifts inside, in your perspective, how you handle life, that sort of thing.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. This essay, it doesn't just list the obvious stuff.
No.
It points to signs that, when you hear them, might just make you go, oh, hang on a minute. So let's dive into some of these maybe less obvious markers of growth.
Let's do it. One really powerful sign the essay kicks off with is, well, it's simply having something come true that you once thought was just completely impossible, or, a total pipe dream.
Okay.
The source gives examples like achieving sobriety when addiction felt like this insurmountable wall,
Yeah.
or finally getting that degree you really doubted you could finish, finding a real partnership maybe, landing that dream job that just felt miles away.
Wow. Okay, think about that for a second, you listening. Is there anything in your life right now, could be big, could be small, that your past self, genuinely would have said, no way, that's impossible? Something you worked for, maybe? Or maybe something that just sort of shifted into place?
And see, this isn't just about hitting a goal. What's fascinating here, what the essay really highlights, is what it shows about your capacity.
Ah, right.
It means you've navigated stuff you once saw as absolute roadblocks. It proves you can move beyond those perceived limits, create real change, either internally or out in the world. It's basically proof you're capable of things you couldn't even properly imagine before.
That totally changes the perspective. It's not just the thing, it's what getting there says about you.
Yeah.
Okay, so following that idea, how we see our past selves, another really striking sign from the essay is forgetting past difficulties. Yeah, but not like pushing it down, more like those intense struggles or really hard times. They don't take up space in your head anymore.
Okay.
The source describes it as feeling like those tough times happened in a different life.
This brings up a really important question about healing and integration.
Yeah.
When you've truly processed difficult experiences, they lose their grip on your present, don't they?
Right.
The essay suggests this forgetting isn't about denial or repression. It's more like you've built a new reality, one that's so different, so much more stable, that the old struggles feel, well, disconnected from who you are now.
Fundamentally disconnected, yeah.
It's really profound evidence of resilience,
Yeah.
transformation right down at the foundations.
That makes so much sense. You've learned the lessons maybe, but the constant pain or the weight of it has faded because your inner world has shifted so dramatically.
Exactly.
And speaking of how our internal world shifts, the essay points to big changes in how you approach relationships, specifically romantic ones.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests your type, might evolve quite drastically, moving from maybe focusing mainly on physical stuff to really prioritizing personality traits, genuine connection, shared values, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and if we connect this back to the bigger picture of evolution, it really shows a deeper understanding of what actually makes a connection last, right?
Yeah.
It's a move away from the superficial, where it's recognizing what really matters. Compatibility, emotional depth, mutual respect, things with staying power.
Right.
And the source also highlights that your whole idea of love might just expand beyond just, say, sexual attraction, to include a wider range of affection and appreciation for all sorts of people in your life.
That's a lovely way to put it.
It reflects a more mature, more inclusive way of connecting with others.
Recognizing love in more forms than you used to, that's a really beautiful indicator. Okay, switching gears a little, here's one that feels super relevant today. having more interest than just gossip.
Oh, yes. Gossip.
The essay talks about finding you get less satisfaction from, dissecting other people's problems or hearing rumors.
Hmm.
And instead, you actually want to talk about ideas or the world or maybe deeper personal insights with your friends.
This really shows a broadening of your, let's say, intellectual and emotional horizons.
Yeah.
It means you're shifting from focusing outwards, often on negative stuff, towards more internal reflection and engaging with things that feel more meaningful.
Right.
And the source makes another great point here. You start realizing that gossip often says more about the person doing the gossiping, their insecurities, their viewpoint, than the person being talked about.
Oh, that's such a powerful insight from the source, that meta-awareness, as you called it.
Exactly. It's a clear sign of an evolved understanding both of social dynamics and of yourself.
It completely flips the script.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to maybe a more challenging sign now. The essay mentions experiencing something you genuinely thought was the worst.
The worst. Okay.
Yeah, like losing someone you thought you couldn't live without. Or maybe losing a job or an opportunity that felt absolutely essential. And through that, you learn a completely new definition of safety.
This is where the source really digs into resilience.
Yeah.
The essay argues that real safety, true safety, it isn't found in external things staying the same, because things can be taken away.
Right, we know that.
Instead, safety is found in that internal knowing your own ability to withstand loss, to adapt, to rebuild.
Wow.
Realizing that you can actually keep going even after something devastating happens that's highlighted as a massive evolutionary leap is shifting from looking for certainty out there to finding security in your own inner strength.
That completely reframes the whole idea of feeling secure. Wow, and that inner strength, it feels like it connects to another sign, creating your own belief system, or at least thoroughly questioning the one you were handed down. The essay points out that you might find yourself no longer just automatically accepting things that, well, they just don't feel right or make sense to you anymore.
This points straight to developing independent thought, doesn't it? And a stronger sense of self.
Yeah.
It signals a move away from just passively inheriting how you see the world,
Right.
towards actively engaging with ideas, testing them against your own experience and reason, and building a belief system that feels genuinely yours. The source presents this as a crucial step in, sort of, in intellectual and spiritual autonomy.
I can definitely see how questioning norms links up with another sign the essay mentions. Becoming way more discerning about who you spend your time with.
Oh, for sure.
You start valuing those deeper, more meaningful connections with close friends, maybe just a few, over the idea that you need this big group or broad social acceptance.
This really reflects a growing understanding of your own needs and your boundaries.
Boundaries, yeah.
The source suggests this discernment is a sign you value your energy and your emotional well-being more. You start choosing relationships that actually feed you, supportive, reciprocal ones, and you move away from connections based on obligation or just surface-level stuff or needing people to like you.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. That becomes the clear indicator of evolved social intelligence, you could say.
And that ties right into another point about authenticity in the essay, not changing your personality or your opinions, or even small things like, how you dress based on who you're going to be around.
That is such a strong indicator of self-acceptance and internal validation.
Yeah.
The source highlights that when your sense of self-worth comes from inside, you just don't feel the need to perform or tweak your identity to get approval from others.
Right.
You're comfortable just being you in different situations. And that's a freedom, the essay suggests, that only comes through significant internal growth.
It's that real comfort in your own skin. And kind of related to shedding that need for approval, the essay also points to no longer blaming other people for your problems.
The blame game.
Yeah, or operating, like just complaining about something is somehow going to fix it.
This is such a key sign of embracing personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Agency.
Right.
The source frames this as moving from potentially a sort of victim mindset to an empowered one. You recognize that, external stuff happens, but your power lies in how you respond, how you adapt, how you look for solutions. It's about shifting energy from complaining to action, or sometimes acceptance.
That feels like a huge step for anyone.
Huge.
Okay, what about past relationships? Old friends. The essay mentions not really relating to a lot of your old friends anymore, but still being able to appreciate the role they played back then in a different phase of your life.
Yeah, this reflects that natural divergence that just happens, right,
Mm.
as people grow and their paths change.
Totally.
And the source notes, this isn't about being negative or judging those old friends. Not at all.
No.
It's more about acknowledging that while your lives might not really align anymore, you can still feel gratitude for the shared history, for the connections that were important back then. It's a sign of accepting that relationships are fluid, that they change. It's just part of the journey.
That makes a lot of sense. You can value the past without trying to force a present connection that just doesn't fit anymore.
Wow.
Okay, here's one I think a lot of people might recognize. Not worrying about fitting in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sincerely not wanting to be normal or really caring about being seen as cool.
Mm-hmm.
The essay even makes the point that you start to notice, hey, the people who peaked in high school, sometimes they don't seem to progress much beyond that.
Oof. Yeah. That's a powerful indicator of self-acceptance, isn't it? And
Yeah.
rejecting conformity just for the sake of it.
Right.
The source suggests that recognizing the kind of stagnation that can come from desperately trying to fit into some mold, it frees you up to actually embrace who you are,
Yeah.
your individuality.
Yeah.
Not caring about being cool or normal
Yeah.
means you're not driven by external trends anymore. You're driven by what feels authentic inside. And the essay presents that as much more fertile ground for continued growth.
It's like realizing that chasing normal often means chasing, well, mediocrity maybe, or just staying put.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, building on overcoming challenges from the past. The essay lists being able to talk about problems you once thought were absolutely insurmountable.
Right.
The kind that felt like they might actually break you, but more than just talking about them, being able to articulate how you got through them.
This shows not just resilience, which we talked about,
Yeah.
but also the wisdom and perspective you've gained. The source highlights that, reflecting on and being able to explain the process of overcoming those deep challenges. It shows you've truly integrated the lessons.
Integration again.
Yeah, you've moved beyond just surviving. You understand how you survived. And that empowers you. And maybe it can even offer some insight to others too.
That's a fantastic point. It's not just survival, it's the understanding gained from it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a sign that feels both really simple and incredibly profound. Stopping to genuinely enjoy life more often, instead of being constantly focused on rushing from one goal, one milestone, to the very next one.
This signifies a really fundamental shift in how you relate to time and achievement.
Yeah.
The source suggests this moves you from living purely for the future
Right.
to actually appreciating the present moment. It indicates a deeper understanding that life's value isn't only in what you accomplish, but in the experience of living itself. Finding contentment in the journey, not just waiting for the destination.
That appreciation for the present, that's huge. Okay, here's the second to last sign from the essay. This one feels particularly potent right now, being highly skeptical of anything presented as just the way things are.
Oh, interesting. Skeptical.
Yeah. You develop this openness, this willingness to actively seek out and even try different ways, maybe better ways, kinder ways, more enlightened ways to live or approach things.
This really highlights a critical, sort of forward-looking part of evolution, doesn't it? That questioning mindset, that courageous openness to other possibilities.
Yeah.
The source presents this skepticism towards accepted norms as a sign you're just not content with inertia or convention. You're actively looking for improvement, for higher understanding, constantly pushing the edges of what's considered possible or acceptable.
That drive for better ways of being. Wow. And finally, the essay offers this incredibly evocative sign.
Okay.
Imagine telling your younger self about the life you have right now and recognizing that they sincerely, genuinely wouldn't believe you.
Wow. That's maybe the most direct and maybe emotional measure of the distance you've actually traveled, isn't it?
Yeah.
The source uses that thought experiment to really underscore how transformative your evolution has been. Your current reality with all its good stuff, its achievement, maybe its challenges too, is something that would have seemed utterly improbable, maybe completely out of reach to the person you used to be.
It just encapsulates the sheer scale of your journey.
Exactly.
So, after looking at all these signs, I mean, from overcoming the impossible to redefining safety, changing relationships, questioning everything, what does it all really tell us?
Well, I think it tells us that personal evolution, as this deep dive into Brianna Wiest's essay, shows pretty clearly it isn't always some big, dramatic, external reinvention that everybody notices and applauds.
Right, it's often quieter.
Very often. It's frequently found in these quieter internal shifts. How you handle tough times, the quality of your connections, how solid you feel in your own beliefs, and just your ability to simply be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We get so busy looking at the next peak, don't we? We completely fail to see the entire mountain range of growth we've already crossed.
That's a great image.
These signs, they offer you, the listener, a kind of framework,
Mm-hmm.
a chance to pause, look back with maybe clearer eyes, and truly acknowledge the evolved person you actually are today.
Yeah, it's recognizing that the really profound changes are often happening beneath the surface, shaping who you are from the inside out.
Precisely. So maybe based on these signs we've just talked through, consider this. If you look back at your own life, which of these quieter indicators of growth really resonate with you the most? And what does recognizing those specific changes tell you about the unique path you've already carved out and the resilience you've already shown?
Mm.
What does seeing that past journey, seeing how far you've come, mean for the path you choose to walk next?